Ready. Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm Jose Luis Reyes. I'm the CEO of Kingala, proudly implementing partner of the U.S. Embassy Mexico. And I'm very happy and very honored to be here with you to welcome you to this mastermind session. This is our sixth session, and we are very happy and ready to start with this conversation. And to start with this session and with this program, let's start with Miguel Vasquez from the U.S. Embassy, Mexico. Welcome, Miguel.
Thank you very much, Jose Luis. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. For those who were last month, we tried to do this same session as we were in Mérida, Yucatan. There was a blackout, and therefore we wanted to make sure that you could understand everybody. And these guys were struggling with temperatures of 52 degrees Celsius. But I'm very pleased to be with all of you in this session number 6 of Masterminds, where we pair two experts, a Mexican and a US expert, that will introduce you shortly. Let me just say in Spanish, para los que no hablan inglés, tenemos servicios de interpretación simultánea, así que por favor nada más revisen en la parte inferior de sus pantallas y ahí van a encontrar un botón que va a poder tener todo en español si no hablan bien inglés. Okay? Last month, we carried out the Semana de Sostenibilidad de Impacto Social in Mérida, as I said. Thanks to Kingala, we had a full week of activities on entrepreneurship and energy efficiency. We also want to thank the Instituto Yucateco del Emprendimiento for hosting most of these successful events. In today's mastermind session, we're very proud to share with you the highlights of that week. Let's welcome our Wiley alum from 2023, by the way, who happens to be in Vienna, in Austria. As we're speaking, it's pretty late already over there. Architect Raul Monforte, who is an expert on energy efficiency, a lead of Mi Energía MX, whose goal is to reduce the carbon footprint through integrated sectors that lead to the transition to a cleaner and more reliable energy supply. While in the US, Raul gained experience in the lithium battery manufacturing industry and grid application for electric vehicles. From the US side, we're very thrilled as well to introduce BA in Economics and MBA, Christine Jauregui, a marketing strategist and certified model builder. Christine's research and consultation services to clients advance sustainable business models to address social and environmental challenges. Christine has served as a team mentor, evaluator, and judge in startup competitions and accelerators, including Mass Challenge, MIT Ideas Global Challenge, and many, many more. Together, Raul and Christine will be sharing with you their insights about sustainability and social impact in Mexico and the US. So welcome, Raul and Christine, and take it away.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Hello, everyone in the audience. I wish I could be in the same room as you, but we'll be virtual today. It'll be a good conversation. Hello, Raul. It's good to see you too. After getting to spend time with you in Mérida, it's a pleasure to see you again, even if it's on screen.
Hello, Christine. Nice to see you too. And hello, everyone. Welcome to this event. Welcome to Masterminds, this 6th event. We will be talking about social impact and energy transition through entrepreneurship. So welcome, everyone. Feel comfortable, and we can start talking. And Christine, I don't know if you agree. I would like everyone that is here listening to us, just to have a little bit of context, if everyone wants to put in the chat just about what they do or what industry are they in, so we can have a little bit of context and see what are these wonderful people that we have in our audience tonight, and just start a conversation from there.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see where people are coming from.
So we have Isaac.
Waste management in AI. Oh, wow. I want to learn more about what you do. High school students today with us. Awesome. Pet nutrition in Veracruz. This is great. startup consultancy and acceleration programs. Nice. Oh, we have a chocolate maker from Oaxaca. Awesome.
Now you have to send chocolates for everyone.
Yes. I remember the chocolate in Oaxaca. It was really good. Operations in Chiapas, hello. Marketing, Guadalajara, Ciudad de Mexico.
Taco
Master
gourmet,
data.
that's delicious.
Ah. Wow, thank you all for joining us today. Automation. You guys have such a really interesting background, all of you. This is exciting.
What do you think, Christine? We have a very complex group, right? Very diverse.
Yes, very diverse.
So I think that's really important, right, Christine, in entrepreneurship and these networking events, having a diverse group.
It
What do you think
is.
about that?
I love to tell people that anyone can be an entrepreneur. You don't have to have studied business administration necessarily or economics. I have a classmate of mine from business school who never imagined himself starting a company, but now he runs a very successful beer brewing company here in Minnesota, where I live. And I have other classmates who have started other businesses, but came from very different backgrounds and very different educational backgrounds as well. I think entrepreneurship really, really benefits from all backgrounds because you have so many perspectives that you can bring to your work. And that's where a lot of innovation comes from.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think really matters in entrepreneurship and coming from different backgrounds? What it takes for someone to start entrepreneurship? What that that spark that make us
Yes.
do something
Yeah.
different?
There's
What it takes?
When I think about all the different entrepreneurs I've worked with in my career, they are all very passionate people. They have a solution to a problem that really bothers them. It could be strictly a business problem. It could be a social impact problem. It doesn't matter. But they are very confident in their belief that their solution needs to come to the market and it will benefit many, many people. Also, they are aware, of course, that there has to be a demand for their solution. It has to be a need that enough people have and are willing to pay for the solution. And of course, they have to be very persistent and disciplined because entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not a straight line. It's got a lot of curves to it and barriers and external contexts that are out of one's control. There's also competition. And there's the need to build an organization that can deliver whatever the solution is. And I don't think I need to explain very much about how complicated groups of people can get together, especially when there is an urgent task at hand. So I would say, yes, entrepreneurs come from every background, but they have certain characteristics in common. I would say persistence and discipline, and the ability to think very positively, even when times become difficult.
Yeah, and I think everyone that we're having right here in the audience, I think they all meet those characteristics and all that profiles. Just by reading what they're doing right now, it's not something not even common, and it seems like they are share this passion, right, about what they do and the niche they're working in. And what do you think, Christine? I have always wondered, when you want to do entrepreneurship, like entrepreneurship can be too like working, like there's entrepreneurship, like myself, I'm working in a family business myself, or I find myself in the second generation. And when you have these great businesses ideas, you always have this feeling or this dream about being about what you want to get at the end, or what you want to get, like having everything working. But what are these first steps? How can we take this dream and put it to land? And what would you recommend to take the first steps to start like taking like solid steps, and of course having this persistency going on? Because everybody knows here, and I maybe I can talk for everyone, that times maybe you want to drop it off, and maybe you want to, get away. But we are people that, even through that, we are still here working hard. So
Yes.
for those who sometimes they wonder themselves if they're in the right path, what's that light that you gotta follow in the first
Okay.
steps?
Yeah, that's a
And for
great
everyone to
question.
know, Christine have worked a lot with entrepreneurship mentorship through many universities. So Christine is a professional mentor in entrepreneurship and in social impact. So all the tips and recommendations, like she has followed a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and in her experience, she has seen them like starting from the bottom. Now they're there, right? So
Yes,
what can you tell us
I've
about?
had the privilege to see the people I have worked with as clients become better known in their industries, attract investment, and bring their ideas to reality. And it's an exciting thing to watch. I have a perspective that's different from theirs, of course, because I'm not part of their organization or their company or their startup. But I can observe from a distance what is happening as they develop and as they try new paths and as they learn. And a big part of learning is making mistakes. And that's where this persistence and this sense of resilience comes into play, because any entrepreneur can tell you that they have made many mistakes along the way. But what they did was not let those mistakes stop them. They learned from those experiences and they became better at what they were doing for having made mistakes. And so we talk about failing fast and rapid prototyping and rapid iteration. Those are a couple of concepts that we talk about a lot in entrepreneurship. And it's the idea of testing your ideas early, with a minimum viable product or an early prototype, and really put those to the test and see what feedback comes back. What do your test clients say about your solution? And it's okay if they don't like it or they tell you it doesn't work. because that's valuable information. And if you can take that information and make something better and not give up, that's where the success is. I mean, that's one characteristic that I've seen in everyone I've worked with, is this ability to learn quickly and modify and then test again, and then modify and test again. And maybe it never ends. Maybe that process never ends. Even if you have a very successful product in the market, you can always improve, because you're always going to have competition. If you are successful in doing what you're doing and offering what you're offering, people will notice. They will notice that there is money to be made, there is success to be had, and they will copy you, or maybe try to make something even better. So the job of the entrepreneur is never really finished, I'm afraid to say, because in a competitive marketplace, the need to reinvent and recommit and relearn never goes away. One thing I did want to say about entrepreneurs, what is good preparation for them? The good news is there's lots of things you can do that is really good preparation for becoming a business owner one day. It doesn't matter if you're working in banking or retail or food and beverage or energy or anything. I mean, whatever you are doing, you are going to learn from it. You are going to observe people's dynamics. You're going to observe how customers and companies interact with each other. You're going to learn from mistakes that other people make, and those are learning opportunities as well. So I would say work in anything that you find interesting. And if you decide to establish a company that is different in a different market or a different industry from the one you came from, learn as much as you can about that industry and that marketplace, because there's so much that's different from company to company to company, and from industry to industry. So be very observant and learn as much as you can. Just soak up everything that's going on around you. Oh, you're on mute, Raul.
Sorry. So that's great, Christine. That's awesome. And I think you're very right about everything that we're discussing right now. So taking the conversation from that point, we have been talking about the characteristic, the profiles, about being an entrepreneur, about these people that they have leadership, that they don't surrender, that they're persistent, and now taking action, testing, feedback. And I want to take it to the next level and talk. If we then introduce what social impact comes to, because entrepreneurship can be about every industry. There's a lot of industries. We can find a lot of problems to be solved with very successful and innovative solutions. But is someone wrong if they say entrepreneurship their project cannot have a direct relation with social impact? Is that common for some entrepreneurs to think that through their entrepreneurship they cannot impact the society in a good manner? And if depending on the answer, how, if some of them think they can't, how can they open their eyes and try to navigate to make their and find that their company can do a benefit and can improve social impact. Because there are some entrepreneurship that just by what they do, they're impacting society, but there are others that maybe not their main focus solution will be to have an impact that will benefit society in a social impact and making like society more having more justice. But how can they turn it and find it? Because something beautiful I think about entrepreneurship is that gets along very well with social impact. How can everyone like make it and transform it in this good machine of making everyone's life better?
Yeah, you raise a very important question. I once had a very successful entrepreneur tell me that all entrepreneurs are social entrepreneurs, whether they intend to be social entrepreneurs or not, because operating an organization, a business, providing a product or a service, and like you mentioned, employing people, that is very impactful to the lives of the people who are relying on your product or service for their own purposes, or the people who are working for you as the founder. It's an interesting question. I hadn't thought about it before. The fact that everyone is a social entrepreneur if they are an entrepreneur. I don't know to this day if it's completely true, but I definitely understand the argument. And I definitely believe that companies, whether they are big companies or small companies, do have an influence on their communities, on their employees, on their customers. I mean, it can be unintentional, but there's still consequences to doing business in a place and with people. And so I've always been attracted to the idea of social entrepreneurship and corporate social responsibility, because in the course of doing business, in the course of solving people's problems, in the course of employing people, an organization can have beneficial effects on the environment, on the quality of the air, the quality of the water. It goes both ways. I mean, organizations, we have seen throughout history cases where organizations have created a lot of pollution or a lot of waste or a lot of negative health impacts. But at the same time, it is possible to generate and distribute positive impacts through the course of doing business. And there are many scholars and experts in the field who will tell you that the way to become the most profitable and the longest lasting in your business is to generate social value through the course of doing business. So it's definitely, I think, especially in this day and age with the the arrival of climate change, and we have to be conscious of positive and negative effects of doing business so that we can work together with our suppliers, with our customers, with our lenders to formulate better means of achieving the outcomes we want to achieve, while at the same time creating positive social impact.
That's great. And maybe we can close this question or this topic by saying that entrepreneurship and through innovation goes by itself and goes with having a successful social impact in remembering that companies that they do not success in the market, it's because they are losing their ability to making a better social impact or a successful social well, impact in the society, or making people's better at a great, like making a good solution at a great price, and that's why people choose their solution or just choose their service. So yeah, I think maybe that opens up everyone's about thinking if they sometimes they wonder if their entrepreneurship is making any social impact.
Yeah.
And talking about inspiration for a social entrepreneur and someone that's trying to access this market offering a new solution, where can they find this inspiration, and how can they grow their businesses? Because right now we're having an event where we have a lot of people that are making social impact through their entrepreneurship, and it's kind of like we are right now networking, like maybe in right now that we began this conversation in the chat, and everybody said and put in the chat what they do and what they're working for, and just start to see what everyone else is doing, and you start getting ideas, and then you start thinking, maybe I can connect with these people. What's the real value about not just like sometimes getting out of the office and get your head as a leader, getting out of what you do and try to go somewhere else and be with other people that are in the same trip that you're walking through entrepreneurship. How valuable is that to take our solutions higher?
I think it's extremely valuable to create a network of peers who are facing the same types of decisions and challenges day to day that you are in your business, but who also want to use business for good, who recognize that the power of commerce can generate and distribute positive impact. And I would even go so far as to say that definitely in the future, what I see is that companies are not going to have the luxury of not considering their environmental, social, and governance impacts on the world around them. That ESG reporting, social value will not be a niche anymore. It will not be something small in the marketplace, but it will be generalized across businesses of all sizes, and that will be necessary. Not just for business survival and for planetary survival and for human survival, but it's going to be a given one day that we need to operate our organizations in responsible ways, and that create financial value, but also create positive social value. And there are many organizations of people, of business owners, of business students who do meet and talk and write about these types of topics. I'm not that familiar with what these organizations are called in Mexico, but in the US and in Europe, and it may be also in Mexico by now, but the organization Net Impact is an organization I first became a part of when I was a business student. But I think even outside of formal organizations with members and newsletters and events and conferences, I believe that, especially in the future, more and more companies, even small ones, are going to need to find their peers. And those could be other business owners, they could be suppliers, they could be lenders, they could be investors. Everyone is going to start to need to collaborate more and more for what the future of business is going to require. So definitely spend time, invest your time in the networking aspect, because that is a crucial part of your success.
Yes, I'm working with peers and finding these networks and building these networks, of course, help us to create maybe find a local supply chain, right? And maybe that will benefit our companies, not only through having good alliances and getting good suppliers or clients, maybe us building a local supply chain or the shortest supply chain can have a really wonderful impact in sustainability. Right now that we're talking about ESG and sustainability, remember for the people, I'm reminding the people in the audience that last month we have this event for 1 week in Merida, where we talk about energy transition. And we were discussing energy transition from the point of the root cause that is the impact of climate change. And we were discussing with a group of entrepreneurs that the real thing about climate change, or what's the real motor that is moving us right now to act in front of this global event that we're having, is that it's not a matter of making the world better right now. It's a matter of surviving. And you just mentioned that before about surviving, because right now we're having a lot of issues, a lot of natural events that they way out of the statistics and way out of what normally happens. And that's not only putting in risk our companies and our societies, but it's something that is not that is causing a lot of injustice too, because in some countries that they are the more underdeveloped, or they have like not the best infrastructure, these type of countries are having the highest impact in climate change, and they are suffering the most, right? And what you said before too, like I agree, and I feel everyone has to agree that right now in an entrepreneur DNA, not only social impact has to be in, so sustainability has to be that DNA too. And as you said, it's not going to be a differential; it will be a must in the following years. And taking this point to the next conversation, how we have seen in the US right now, big companies are even getting qualified by ESG levels, environmental, social, and governance. How can small entrepreneurs can fit into that levels? How can they begin this sustainability? Because some people would think I'm still a small business, I'm still struggling with making my solution, skyrocket. And is that really a responsibility for big organizations, or in the other way, by adding all the efforts of small companies and big companies, we can achieve having a better world in terms of sustainability? What can you say, and what can you tell us about these ideas and taking these ideas to our businesses?
Yes, you raise a very good point. the large multinational companies that are measuring their carbon footprint, measuring their environmental footprint, measuring their governance. They are doing it because they have to, for a number of reasons. One is risk mitigation. You know, if a company is not aware of their waste generation or the pollution associated with their operations, and then there is a big disaster, you know, that you can prevent big bad events from happening if you have an understanding of what's at play and what factors could lead to a catastrophic event, and not just financially catastrophic in the short term, but from a reputation perspective too in the long term. I mean, we could probably name, we won't do it now, but we could probably name some large company names that we associate with something not very good. But yeah, but they also have to, and when I say have to, no one's really, you know, forcing them to, but they're creating incentives for them to track their footprints and to report their footprints and to report their progress on reducing their footprints. And that comes down to, you know, publicly traded companies. They are starting to see ESG as a benefit, as a positive, as no longer just a matter of managing risk and reputation, but also attracting new customers, also attracting new forms of investment. So I think with the big companies, the carrots or the incentives are definitely becoming more and more noticeable. When it comes to smaller companies, and especially really small companies, the amount of time they would need to invest in doing full-blown ESG reporting, it doesn't make sense for them. There are more tailored ways, there are smaller scale ways of measuring a footprint and understanding what is in your supply chain, what kinds of acts that your suppliers are taking to improve health, to improve quality of life, to improve the state of the environment. And those become important decision-making factors in your business. So I know there are a lot of open source, but also proprietary consultant types of activities that small companies can undergo to start becoming aware, start measuring a footprint, and start planning for better ESG management in the course of doing business. But it's not as, at this point in time, it's not as fully developed as it is for the large multinational companies. So this is going to be a space that will evolve and continue to evolve. And it comes back again to the need to collaborate with your peers, with your suppliers, with your lenders, because You need to learn what options you have. You need to be able to try new approaches, and you will need the support of your suppliers and your investors or your lenders. It's kind of what we've been talking about all along, that yes, small businesses won't need to report and measure to the same level of specificity necessarily that large companies are doing. But because there are so many small companies, and because small companies are important, because they become eventually medium-sized companies and then larger companies, there definitely is value in understanding the operations and the choices and the customer desires that will affect how you conduct business.
Yes, I think this is very valuable because we even had this question from the audience, from Domenica, that she said before that she's working in Ecuador. She's a lawyer working in the NGO. So she says, like, how can a small business apply for ESG if it's too expensive? So right now we talk about big companies, they're in a different level, and their efforts are in a different level. And
Yeah.
how to better understand this type of different levels between small companies and different companies, how can you compare ESG objectives or ESG work in between the US and Latin America? Because for small companies, maybe a small decisions or in small actions can mean a lot, right? And bigger companies, they can do an effort to have a huge ESG team, have a director of sustainability, do these charity events, like invest a lot of money in it. Of course, they're getting benefits in communications and even in economical benefits. But what other strategies can we meet? And what can you tell us about these different levels of ESG that small businesses can apply for? I know we kind of know that there's certifications too in some countries that they apply, and they take you through this process to start with planning and making a plan to go through to try to reach these levels. What can you tell us about this?
Yes. So the main point I would make on this is that you don't need to do this alone. You can collaborate with other small businesses in your neighborhood, in your marketplace. You can collaborate with the banks that lend you money. You can collaborate with the suppliers that are providing some of the goods that you're selling. For instance, if you're a retail store, there is a lot of opportunity in working together to spread the investment of, I won't say burden, but the investment of understanding what kinds of external impacts your company is having and how to manage them, reduce them, change them, how to access new markets because you have changed them. One thing that I find really fascinating, and this is definitely driven by large multinational companies, but does reach down into local suppliers, and that's the concept of industrial clusters. So for instance, in Mexico, you could say that you have clusters in medical devices in the north of the country. You could say you have clusters of tourism-related businesses throughout the country. In Querétaro, for instance, there is an industrial cluster based around the automotive industry, where the big manufacturers, and to be clear, yes, the big manufacturers, they're selling internationally their vehicles. The vehicles have to have certain qualities, characteristics, minimal footprints to be competitive in their marketplaces. But to reach their goals around sustainability, for instance, or water use, or solid waste management, they need to involve the participation of the smaller companies that are part of their cluster. So what I see for the future, and I really hope happens, is that companies are going to find ways, even if they're small companies, they're going to find ways to work with the other members of their ecosystem to learn and practice the activities regarding measuring impact, tracking impact, communicating impact, demonstrating impact. And it doesn't make sense to me that any one company would go it alone, because no one company is able to flourish and continue and grow without building alliances with other companies, whether that's strictly from a supply chain perspective, whether it's for new initiatives. I can think of a case where two competitive mining companies decided to create a more sustainable steel, and they worked together to do whatever experimentation and scientific work and research and prototyping that needed to happen. It was something that was too big for either of them to do by themselves, or at least they perceived the task as too big to do alone. So with a partner, they were able to innovate. And in fact, it's a real situation that's happened. Apple is one of their customers for this metal that is more sustainably produced. So it's the things that companies will do that they may never have considered doing before. I think we're going to see more and more examples of that, because it will be necessary and faster. I mean, we don't have all the time in the world to, rein in our carbon footprint and prevent the temperature from rising, but we do have some time. So I really get heartened by seeing examples of companies, big and small, working together to achieve something that by themselves would have been much more difficult.
Yes, exactly. I think the same. And for making a closure or a resume for all the audience and thanking them for being here with us. We have discussed a lot of things, and I think we're still human beings, and as human creatures, something very important that we have talked about is that we are not alone. We have always made alliances as a society and as a world society. We have always find alliances, even in the bad times where we fight with each other. At the end, we find things that we have in common to meet our needs. So I think association, having networking, finding these peers, that will be what will make us success, right? Through social entrepreneurship and through um, sustainability. Because as we said before, businesses that cannot maintain their social impact, or in this case, in the following years, their sustainability impact, are going to be businesses that will not stand in the market anymore. So taking that as something that is gonna be like that, and taking in consideration that at the same time doing these businesses are made to be a business too and make money, and everything that can come together and is they're not away from each other. I think that if we keep that and keep working on that as entrepreneurs that never surrender and we're consistent, that's the way of taking our businesses to the next level, on and on and on, and testing and going on again, and take all the changes in the market to step up and change again and make our solutions better for everyone. So thank you, Christine, for this conversation. And if someone has any questions in the audience, the time to discuss them. And we have other things prepared for you for disclosure. I think there's a gift card that is going away. So this is the moment.
Yes. Thank you, Raul. Thank you very much for sharing all this knowledge with us, Christine, as well. We really appreciate everything that you have taught us in this session. And yes, Raul, as we promised, we're giving away a gift card from Amazon. So I'm going to share my screen with all of you guys so that we can start with this giveaway. Give me a second. Okay. So we have here all the participants that are active right now. So let's go and see who's gonna get this gift card. Okay, so we have all the participants. And the winner is Carlos Paje. Carlos, please, in the chat, send me your information, name, and a number where we can contact you so that we can reach you. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to Carlos. Now you have this gift card of Amazon, 500 pesos, very good. So just to close this session and this sixth session of Masterminds, we want to thank obviously Miguel Vasquez from the US Embassy and all the team of the embassy for letting us implement this program. Obviously, we are very thankful and grateful with Christine Jauregui and with Raul Monforte for being here with us. And just to let you know, when we were in Mérida, we were working very close with the IGEM, that is the Instituto Yucateco de Emprendimiento, and they were a key part of this program, and also to Kibernus, because they allow us to implement this program there in Mérida. So we are gonna have another session the next month. We hope to see you there. Every month we have these sessions, and we want you to be there and to learn and to meet new people and to receive this knowledge from the US speakers that we are inviting to be here. So thank you very much for being here, and see you in a month. We hope to see you all there. And congratulations to Carlos for this gift card, and thank you very much, Miguel, Christine, Raul, and all the Kingala team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ho.
A big shout out to all the wild liars from 2023.
Good to see you all. And by the way, I saw that there's one more question from Aaron. Hopefully we can answer that back by email. Great. Take care.
You guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.